Trolls and nerds, welcome back to Troll Nation. I'm Chris with telesplashgaming, and I'm here to talk to you about some second quarter games that I'm looking forward to. Now, I'm not covering every game, there's a ton of games coming out, but these are the ones that I'm pretty pumped about. Some big heavy hitters. Maybe you don't agree with some of them, maybe you're not excited about them, but these are the ones I am. And you know what? I didn't put Nintendo Labo VR on here, because I'm not super pumped about the cardboard VR. Although it is coming out in a few days, so technically I guess I did put it on here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is my list for second quarter games. Stick around, let's see what we got. The first game up releasing April 11th is Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. Now this is like the 7th or 8th game in the Earth Defense Force series, and it's truly a series that has a cult following. Myself, I've never played this and really even heard about it, but I've just read a lot on the internet and through different gaming magazines, and this is a 3D third-person action shooter game where you take the place of an EDF soldier, also known as Earth Defense Soldier, and you're battling against an onslaught of alien enemies. You have 4 different soldier classes: the Trooper, Jet Lifter, Heavy Striker, and the Prowl Rider as either male or female. You collect different energy gems which can be used as currency, which are dropped by the enemies, and you can use them to customize your character, get new apparel, new weapons, so definitely collect those energy gems. The other thing is, it has about 50 missions, and it also has online game modes. You can play co-op through the campaign with up to 5 other players, or you can do PvP in a mercenary mode where 2 teams of 4 compete to collect the most energy gems. One is the EDF squad, while the other is the Kindred Rebellion, which is the main bad guys in the game itself. So if you're a fan of Earth Defense Force, I bet it's on your radar, and it looks to be a pretty fun addition with a little more serious tone than the previous campy entries you're probably used to. April 16th, it's time to gear up and outlive the dead. World War Z hits, and it's obviously made popular by the Paramount Pictures movie of the same name. Now this is a worldwide war. In the movie we got a very small glimpse featuring Brad Pitt and the struggles him and his family went through, but this is taking place in different locales from New York to Moscow, Russia, to Jerusalem, and there's multiple playable classes, but I think the fun selling point for me is the opportunity to play with 3 of my friends online as we face the zombie onslaught together. You can have up to 4-player co-op in the third person, and it just seems really neat. It looks really fun. There's a ton of zombies on screen at once. There's body parts flying everywhere. There's blood splattering all over the place. And like I said, you got the gunslinger, you got some melee style classes. So there's a lot of different fun ways to play this game with way different gameplay styles, whether it's run and gun, whether you want to whack them upside the head, whether you want to plant bombs. So this one looks to have some pretty fun strategy, and you also get to have a few other options in terms of how you want to play it. So World War Z comes out here pretty soon, and I think it's going to be one of the fun zombie games to release this spring. There's not much to be said here. April 18th, Cuphead gets released for the Nintendo Switch. It's been amazing on the Xbox, amazing on the PC, and now Nintendo owners get a chance to play this if they haven't already. Amazing art style, grueling gameplay, but incredibly satisfying. If you haven't played Cuphead, this is the game to get this month. Oh yeah, blood splatter analysts, rejoice. We have Mortal Kombat 11 coming out. And oh my goodness, the very, wild and controversial beginnings has really evolved into a true fighting juggernaut in the genre. Mortal Kombat 1, let's be honest, when I was a kid I went to the arcade, my parents thought it was like the spawns of Satan created this arcade, and I couldn't wait to play it. I wanted to see people's hearts get ripped out, their noses get broken, their bones get crunched, their souls taken. I mean, come on, when you were a kid, that was one of the craziest things you ever seen in a game. And now, yeah, it's not quite as, controversial because of the way things have changed, but Mortal Kombat has evolved. I mean, they've had some terrible games. I mean, Mortal Kombat Mythologies featuring Sub-Zero, Shaolin monks. I mean, let's be honest, they have had some rough patches, but they have stood the test of time. And now the last few games have not only incorporated fantastic gameplay, worthy of competing with the Tekkens and the Street Fighters, and the Dead or Alives, but I mean the storyline is really cool too, and this one is awesome. Past meets present, You're fighting against a younger version of yourself or an older version, depending on which character you're playing as. You fight with and against. I mean, it's super cool to see the same character in different costumes from the past and the present. So, Mortal Kombat 11 is a huge release coming out April 23rd, and I have not played the last couple other than at friends' houses and watching online, but this is one that I'm planning on picking up because I want to experience this storyline. And the, kid in me wants to see some sweet fatalities. What can I say? April 26th is time to put up or shut up for Days Gone. Can it live up to the hype? Now this is the next big exclusive for the PlayStation 4. Last year we had God of War and Spider-Man, both were Game of the Year contenders. And this game already kind of has that vibe. That's always the scariest part about these games that get so hyped is, are they actually going to be good? I mean, even if it gets like a 7.5 or 8, is that going to be enough to live up to the hype? For me, I'm into it. I love zombie games. I had a video on it, and I cannot wait to see what this one has to offer. The zombies themselves are always fun, but this one brings in a motorcycle. It turns animals into these, undead horde. Look at these wolves chasing. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I cannot wait to see how this game plays. Nobody knows how long it is, but so far it just looks to have a good mixture of human and zombie interaction. Kind of like The Last of Us, obviously a lot different, and I don't even want to put them in the same ballpark, because The Last of Us is a true gem in the PlayStation library. But this game could be the next Game of the Year contender and one of the best exclusives for the PS4. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's got a lot of hype, a lot of people are pre-ordering it, and I'm excited to get my hands on it so I can play it for the first time. Super Meat Boy Forever was supposed to come out at the end of April, but it's now been pushed back to May, so I'm expecting an early release. Now, Super Meat Boy, I'm sure you've heard of it, many of you have played it. I had it on my Vita, and this was a great game. It's that roguelike game where you just die over and over and over again as you try to figure out the level, and every time you get one step closer, something else comes in and kills you. You have to memorize the pattern and do it again. It's fun. It's repetitive, but it's not a boring repetitive. It's a repetitive where you're like, I shouldn't have died. I know I can beat this. And it makes you stay up later than you want to. It makes you rage, but it makes you happy as soon as you beat the level. It's a truly fun game, and this one is going to build on everything you like about the original Super Meat Boys and just add more and more great levels. And I'm excited to see how this one plays out. If you're in the mood for some fast-paced, first-person shooting gameplay, then Rage 2 releasing May 14th is the game to check out. Now this is the sequel to the pretty popular game that came out a few years ago. It's an open-world post-apocalyptic game. You kind of heard this, same song and dance before, but hey, it doesn't really get that old. You take over this character named Walker, who is stuck after an asteroid hit the world and left a bunch of mutants in its place. It's kind of a Mad Max style setting. There's this group called the Authority that's declared themselves as the new military power, and they are basically a dictatorship that is hell-bent on taking over, collecting this nanotechnology, and gaining more and more power. As Walker, you actually use this nanotechnology to boost your powers. You can mow down enemy and increases your combat efficiency. It's also got a little vehicular combat, including trucks, buggies, and they call them gyrocopters. And you're able to drive any of these vehicles in the game's world. So you're fighting mutants, you're fighting the Authority. This Authority wants to come after you because you have the access to the nanotechnology. So there's just a huge bundle of apocalyptic joy coming your way. So if Rage 1 was your thing, Rage 2 is definitely going to be your thing again. Another series that really needs no introduction, Resident Evil. Now this isn't a new game coming out, but the remastered version of 0, 1, and 4 are coming to Switch May 21st. Now if you haven't played these games, this is the best chance to play the latest version, remastered, and on the go. That's what makes it so fun, is the Nintendo Switch gives you the option that if you want to turn off your PS4, your Xbox, your PC, and go hop into bed or hit the train or the bus or whatever, you can take some huge AAA games with you. And this is a perfect time to play these games remastered in all their glory. Resident Evil had a few rough patches, much like Mortal Kombat that I was talking about earlier, where they started off strong, had a few duds, but the last few releases have been fantastic. And with Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 7, I'm sure they're going to be remaking and remastering more of these games, and this is a great opportunity to pick up these games, check them out, coming out May 21st for the Switch. Also releasing May 21st on all platforms is Team Sonic Racing. Now, I played the original All-Star Sonic Racing on the PlayStation 3, and I really had a good time playing that game. It was obviously a Mario Kart style clone, but it had, its own character and a charm all on its own, and I really enjoyed it. It was fast-paced, there was some fun drifting elements to it, the character selection was great, but that was on the last-gen console, and I think they've learned all of the things that were wrong about that game, and I'm hoping they've fixed them and made this game the best version that it can be, especially on the modern gen. A lot of gamers really want a Mario Kart clone because we don't have that if you're on the PlayStation, the Xbox, or even the PC. Obviously, having a Switch, it doesn't matter because you can play Mario Kart, but it's great to have another alternative if you don't have a Switch, and this is definitely going to be one of two coming out that are kart racers. Well, I said there'd be two kart racers, and the second comes out June 21st. Now, whereas the Sonic Racing game is a brand new game, this is a remaster of the original Crash Team Racing that was popular back on the PlayStation. So this is getting a true remaster. As you can see, the gameplay footage here kind of goes back and forth and shows you. Now, they are adding quite a few new elements, so even though it's a remastered version, they're adding some new events, they're adding some new customization options, characters. Obviously, there's a huge overhaul in the graphic department, and even some of the gameplay's changed. So what it comes down to is, are you a Sonic fan? Are you a Crash fan? I mean, there's room for both. Obviously, Mario Kart has dominated the kart racing industry for quite some time, and it is nice to have some other options out there. So for me, I don't know. I really enjoyed the Sonic game. I never played this originally, but maybe I'll check it out and play it with some buddies. At the end of June, we get a game called Judgment. Now, this is a game set in the same world as the Yakuza series, but you take the role of a private detective named Takayuki Yagami as you investigate a serial murder case. Now, I love true crime shows and podcasts. I love hearing how these detectives solve these murders, so this game kind of speaks to me a little bit because you get to take over as a detective and solve a serial murder. Now, I'm sure there's a lot to it, but it's kind of cool that it takes place in the same world as Yakuza. I haven't heard a lot about it, but I know there's investigative mode where you must find traces of the criminal, so it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Batman Arkham series where you enter your detective mode. But I do hope they go a little bit more in depth than the Batman series did in terms of finding clues and solving the mystery. I think that'd be really fun, but it does have my interest piqued, and you'll have to let me know down below if you guys also find this game to be kind of unique and something that you're interested in. Well, that's all, folks. That's what we got for the second quarter. A few big games that I'm looking forward to. Definitely going to pre-order a few of these. What are you looking forward to? In the comments below, what games are you pre-ordering? Which ones can you not wait to get your hands on? I have a feeling Days Gone is definitely going to be one of them. Maybe you got Cuphead coming out in just over a week. So let me know in the comments below. That being said, guys, keep trolling, keep rolling. We'll talk to you guys soon.